Imagine two people earning exactly the same salary. One feels secure, sleeps well, and steadily builds freedom. The other feels constantly behind, takes bigger risks, and worries about every bill. The difference may not be intelligence, education, or even financial knowledge. It may be the stories they tell themselves about money. Money looks like a subject made of numbers. But in real life, our financial decisions are made at the dinner table, in a crowded office, during a market panic, and in quiet moments when fear or envy takes control. In The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel argues that doing well with money has less to do with what you know than with how you behave. A brilliant person can lose everything through ego and impatience. An ordinary person can become wealthy through humility, consistency, and time. This episode explores 6 powerful ideas from the book. We will look at why everyone sees money differently, why luck and risk are easy to misread, why saving buys freedom, why compounding needs patience, why enough is a financial superpower, and why a plan needs room for error. The goal is not to help you look rich. It is to help you build a relationship with money that is calm, durable, and useful. Let us begin. Part 1 begins with one of Housel's most compassionate ideas. No one is crazy. People do strange things with money, but those choices often make sense when you understand their personal history. Your experience with the economy is a tiny slice of everything that has ever happened. Yet that slice can shape most of what you believe about risk, debt, investing, and security. Someone who grew up during high inflation may distrust cash because they watched purchasing power disappear. Someone who entered adulthood during a booming stock market may believe investing is easy. Someone whose family lost a home may see all debt as dangerous. These people are not responding to the same emotional evidence. They may read the same financial textbook, but they carry different memories into every decision. Example 1. The cautious saver. A woman keeps a large emergency fund even though an advisor says she could earn more by investing it. Her parents once faced months of unemployment, so cash does more than earn interest for her. It creates safety and helps her avoid panic. Example 2. The aggressive investor. A young man starts investing after watching technology shares rise for several years. His confidence is not necessarily foolish, but it is based on a short and unusually favorable period. If conditions change, his emotional plan may fail before his financial plan does. Understanding this changes the way we give financial advice. The mathematically optimal choice is not always the choice a person can follow for 20 years. A reasonable plan that lets you sleep may be better than a perfect plan that makes you panic. The takeaway tool: write a 1-page money autobiography. List 3 early experiences that shaped how you feel about money. Then ask which beliefs still serve you and which ones belong to a different time. Part 2 is about luck and risk. They are siblings because both describe outcomes influenced by forces beyond individual effort. We like clean stories. When someone succeeds, we want to identify the habit that caused it. When someone fails, we want to identify the mistake that deserved it. Reality is less tidy. Housel uses the early lives of Bill Gates and his school friend Kent Evans to make this point. Gates had the rare good fortune to attend a school with unusual access to a computer. Evans was talented and expected to work with Gates, but died in a mountaineering accident before graduation. One life was touched by extraordinary luck, and the other by extraordinary risk. This does not mean effort is irrelevant. It means outcomes should not be used as perfect measurements of character or skill. Example 1. The successful business owner. An owner may be disciplined, creative, and hardworking, while also benefiting from good timing, a growing market, and a key introduction. Copying every visible habit will not recreate all the invisible conditions. Example 2. The failed investor. A careful investor can buy a strong company just before an unpredictable crisis. A bad short-term result does not automatically make the original decision reckless. We must judge the quality of the process as well as the outcome. The practical lesson is to study broad patterns more than extreme individuals. A single billionaire or bankruptcy makes a dramatic story, but a large group reveals more reliable lessons about patience, costs, debt, and diversification. Humility protects you in both directions. When things go well, remember that not every favorable result came from skill. When things go badly, remember that one setback does not define your ability. The takeaway tool: keep a decision journal. Before a major financial choice, record what you expect, what could go wrong, and what evidence would change your mind. Later, evaluate your reasoning separately from the result. Part 3 separates being rich from being wealthy. Rich is often visible: the car, the house, the watch, and the expensive holiday. Wealth is hidden: the assets not yet spent and the flexibility they create. This creates a difficult social trap. We learn what financial success looks like by observing people, but we can only see what they bought. We cannot see their bank statements, debts, stress, or remaining savings. Spending money to show people how much money you have is one of the fastest ways to have less money. The purchase may create status, but it also removes future choices. Example 1. The luxury car. When you see a stranger driving an expensive car, you may admire the driver. But what you actually know is that the driver has the car, or at least the ability to make its payments. You do not know whether the purchase represents abundance or financial strain. Example 2. The quiet millionaire. A person lives in a modest home, drives an older vehicle, and rarely discusses investments. Nothing about the lifestyle attracts attention, yet years of unspent income may have created substantial independence. The absence of visible luxury can be the evidence of invisible wealth. Saving is not simply the gap between a future purchase and today's balance. It can be useful even when it has no specific destination. Savings create a buffer between you and whatever the world decides to do next. Housel's deeper point is that money's greatest value is control over time. It can let you leave a harmful job, wait for a better opportunity, care for a family member, or solve a problem without immediately surrendering to someone else's schedule. Example 1. Career freedom. 6 months of expenses in reserve may allow an employee to reject a toxic environment and search carefully for the next role. The account is not idle money. It is stored independence. Example 2. Family flexibility. A parent with savings can reduce working hours during an important season at home. The return is not printed on a statement, but it may be more valuable than a higher investment yield. The takeaway tool: measure wealth in months of freedom. Calculate how long your liquid savings could cover essential expenses. Then build that number gradually without comparing your lifestyle to someone else's display. Part 4 focuses on compounding. Compounding is easy to understand as a formula and difficult to respect as a life strategy. Housel points to Warren Buffett. Buffett is a skilled investor, but the scale of his fortune also depends on the extraordinary length of time he has been investing. His financial success is not only about high returns, it is about good returns sustained for decades. Human intuition thinks in straight lines. Compounding grows quietly at first and dramatically later, which makes the early years feel disappointing. Many people interrupt the process because they cannot yet see what time is building. The most important requirement is survival. You cannot benefit from long-term growth if one reckless bet removes you from the game. Example 1. regular investing. An employee invests a manageable amount every month into a diversified, low-cost portfolio. The first few years seem ordinary, but contributions, returns, and time begin to reinforce one another. Consistency becomes more important than finding the perfect month to begin. Example 2. The interrupted plan. Another investor chases whatever recently performed best, then sells during every frightening decline. Even if each new idea sounds intelligent, constant interruption prevents compounding from doing its work. Good investing is not necessarily about making great decisions all the time. It is about avoiding the kinds of mistakes that erase years of good decisions. This principle also applies beyond money. Knowledge, trust, reputation, and healthy habits compound when they are given enough time and are not repeatedly destroyed by short-term impulses. The takeaway tool: choose a boring rule you can maintain. Automate a sustainable contribution, diversify, review it on a fixed schedule, and make the plan simple enough to survive both excitement and fear. Part 5 asks a surprisingly difficult question: what is enough? Without an answer, the finish line moves every time you approach it. Social comparison is one reason. The modern world makes it effortless to compare your private life with the most polished moment of someone else's life. There is almost always someone earning more, owning more, or appearing more successful. If your expectations rise as quickly as your income, progress never feels like progress. You can win the financial game and still feel that you are losing. Housel warns that some things are never worth risking, no matter how attractive the reward. Reputation, freedom, family, and the ability to sleep peacefully can be destroyed by a desire for one more gain. Example 1. The executive gamble. An executive already has enough for lifelong security, but takes an illegal shortcut to earn even more. The additional money offers little improvement, while the risk threatens everything already achieved. Example 2. Lifestyle inflation. A professional receives a raise and immediately upgrades the home, car, subscriptions, and holidays. Income rises, but the margin of safety disappears, so the person feels no freer than before. Enough does not mean rejecting ambition. It means defining what the effort is for. A clear goal turns money from an endless scoreboard into a tool. One useful distinction is between increasing happiness and feeding ego. Spending on health, meaningful experiences, and time with people you love may improve life. Spending only to keep pace with a comparison group often creates a treadmill. The takeaway tool: write your enough statement. Define the lifestyle, security, and freedoms you are trying to protect, and name at least 3 things you will not risk for more money. Part 6 brings the ideas together through room for error. The future is uncertain, so a strong financial plan is not one that requires every assumption to be correct. Forecasts can be useful, but they are not promises. A plan may assume steady income, average investment returns, manageable expenses, and good health. Real life can challenge several assumptions at once. Room for error is the distance between what you think will happen and what you can survive if something else happens. It may look inefficient during calm periods, but it becomes priceless during difficult ones. Example 1. The home purchase. A bank may approve a mortgage at the maximum limit, but borrowing less leaves space for repairs, interest changes, family needs, or a temporary loss of income. The smaller house may support a larger life. Example 2. The business reserve. A small company keeps several months of operating costs instead of investing every available dollar in expansion. Growth is slightly slower, but a delayed payment or sudden downturn does not immediately threaten the company. Housel also distinguishes between being rational and being reasonable. A purely rational spreadsheet may suggest the highest possible exposure to a risky asset, A reasonable person may accept a lower expected return in exchange for a plan they can follow through a crisis. Your strategy must account for your emotions because your emotions will be present when the plan is tested. The best portfolio is not the one that wins a theoretical contest. It is the one that supports your goals and keeps you from making destructive decisions at the worst moment. A durable plan also expects you to change. Goals formed at 20 may not fit at 40. Build flexibility so that changing direction does not feel like failure. The takeaway tool: stress test your financial life. Ask what happens if income falls, expenses rise, or markets decline, then add cash, insurance, diversification, or lower fixed costs until the plan can bend without breaking. The Psychology of Money is ultimately a book about behavior. It shows why financial success is not a single formula and why self-awareness matters as much as technical knowledge. Remember the central lessons. Your history shapes what feels sensible. Luck and risk demand humility. Wealth is often invisible. Savings buy control over time. Compounding rewards endurance. Enough protects what matters. And room for error keeps a good plan alive. You do not need to predict every market movement. You do not need to impress strangers. You need a system that matches your values, survives uncertainty, and gives time the chance to work. Start with one quiet action. Automate a small amount of saving, reduce one unnecessary fixed cost, or write down what enough means to you. A calm financial life is built through repeated behavior, not one dramatic decision. That concludes our exploration of the Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I hope these ideas help you use money not as a measure of your worth, but as a tool for freedom and peace of mind. In our next episode, we will explore another powerful set of ideas for making wiser choices in an uncertain world. Stay curious, keep learning, and I will meet you there.